Welcome to your guide to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, or as it's more lovingly known as, Porcfest. Porcfest occurs at the end of June, and it is hosted in the White Mountains in New Hampshire. It's one of the most beautiful places in the U.S., and it's a wonderful place to escape the hot weather of the rest of the country. Most of the time the weather is fantastic at Porcfest, but it is the mountains, so the weather can change to rain and cold weather, so make sure you bring clothes for all weather conditions. So what is Porcfest and how is it different than other festivals? The Porcupine Freedom Festival is one of the longest running festivals and one of the most well attended. People have described it as a large party at a campground for a week, but really it also focuses a lot on family events, classes, and speakers. Originally, the festival was to spotlight people moving to the Free State Project and encourage them to move. These days it's more focused on community building of the people that are already here. Porcfest has a multitude of activities. Everything from social gatherings, parties, music, to speakers and useful classes. Like this class here was one of my favorites. It taught me how to grow my own mushrooms. Some people go to Porcfest for the chance to be able to interact with some of their favorite speakers. And Porcfest has hosted some pretty big names in the past. Some of your favorite liberty-oriented podcasts and radio shows will actually stream their shows live and you can participate. Sometimes there's so many good events happening at once, it's hard to choose where you want to go and who you want to listen to. Porcfest has always had a history of being friendly to homeschoolers and unschooler groups, and even puts on educational panels and events to encourage more discussion about these topics. Porcfest has never been shy to take on controversial speakers and topics, and even encourages so in Soapbox Idol. Even niche topics and fringe topics are encouraged to be discussed and have their own forum at the Alt Expo. At just about any time of the day, you can always find some sort of live music going on at Porcfest, whether it be one-man bands or open mic nights, even full-blown dance parties with DJs. There was also roving musicians who had solar-powered suitcases that would let you make your own music and jam with the power of the sun. Some people really want to come to Porcfest and don't know what to do with their pets. Well, good news. Porcfest is dog-friendly. In fact, they even put together events for canines. So no reason to pay a dog sitter to watch your dog all week when you can bring him in. Let him make his own friends. In fact, they even have dog meetups where you can wear them out so you can go enjoy the rest of your day while they sleep. Also, people bring other animals. I have seen cats and even birds. Just because you're going to party for a week doesn't mean you get to slack off. There's lots of events like daily yoga and exercise events to stay in shape. Perhaps you would like your exercise to be a little more sports-oriented. Well, they have things like frisbee and dancing, dodgeball, and even touch rugby. With so many events going on, sometimes it's easy to forget what's going on, and you'll find these nice and convenient screens all over. That'll show you the schedule. Also, you can download the schedule right to your phone, and it'll even work offline. Although there are lots of fun events, don't forget, most people are there just to hang out and socialize in person. So you can find yourself many a days just hanging out at the picnic tables and meeting some new friends. Also, if you are a VIP, you can have access to the VIP tent and come get a drink to get out of the heat. You can find lots of helpful people to talk to, like the Porcupine Realtor. Ask them about moving to New Hampshire. Maybe you'd like to take a break from all the activity and just get a massage. Those services are there too. Most of the official vendors are in an area of the campground called Agora Valley. It's side-to-side businesses, and you can go shopping for some cool Liberty swag you won't find anywhere else. The vendors in Agora Valley run the gambit, like these guys are a Liberty-oriented computer company. You can also find some groovy fair wear and some cool artwork. One of the biggest questions is, what do I eat at Porcfest? Well, there's lots of places to eat, like this place that actually makes pizzas on site. And, of course, there is more fair kind of carnival food, but there's a lot of homemade stuff too. Although the food vendors change every year, there's some pretty neat ethnic stuff that shows up once in a while, like the Russian street food. Those people were a lot of fun. There's also some health-conscious choices. Here there's a grass-fed beef and more organic food. We've even had some professional chefs come to Porcfest and grill up their food. Yum. There's also options for vegetarians and vegans. In fact, there were numerous places last year that served and catered to that crowd. So, if you'd like to eat some vegetables, there's plenty of places that will cook them up for you. There was even a vegetarian and vegan potluck meetup. One of the longest running vendors and most anticipated is the homemade ice cream by Amanda. There's also some self-serve and honor places around, like this cola company. There's a very honest business vibe there, and you'll see more self-serve places like this firewood and drink station. If you need some homemade soaps and toiletries to use, folks over at Shire Soaps got you covered. If you'd like to get a keepsake of your time at Porcfest, you can get one of these cool laminated postcards. A lot of vendors are selling handmade crafts they make themselves. Like here, these wood-burned ornaments and decor. You could actually try out your hand at wood burning so you get an idea how tough it is. Most of the vendors at Porcfest take alternative currencies. You can pay with silver, gold, barter, and of course cryptocurrencies. Many of these vendors were into Bitcoin before Bitcoin was even cool. These folks at Token actually put out a Bitcoin lounge where you can hang out and talk about cryptocurrencies. Wait, you don't own any Bitcoin? Well, no problem. Some vendors make it very convenient and easy with these Bitcoin ATM machines. Don't worry about not knowing anyone when you come, because most people are very friendly here, and if you just talk to them a little bit, they'll even give you a tour around and show you what's what. Instead of hiring local police to run a festival, Porcfest has decided to take a free market approach and have their own security. You can feel good about letting your kids run around and enjoy the events at the campground because there's always a pork ranger close by if there's an issue. We also have voluntary first aid services at Free Aid. As the years have gone by through Porcfest, more and more Liberty kids and now Liberty teenagers come to the event. So there's more family-friendly events and lots of stuff to do. I'm going to let an organizer tell you more about that.
All right, this is our Porcupines area at Porcfest. We've got the schedule for the day, all the different things that they're doing. Mary and Jason Sorens are our leads for this area. This year we set up a new thing called Teen Central. Got a cool hangout space. What do you think, guys? Is it good?
It's good.
Yes. It makes you want to take a nap, right?
Yeah, this is cool.
Give them a little space away from the littles. And then this is Porcupines.
And what are they working on right now?
I don't know. Let's see. I think we might be making some kind of ornament. Hi. Yes, we're making ornaments this afternoon. Painting. We have several activities every day. It was, we took donations to raise the money to get it, so we'd have it for the kids to play in. It's been a big hit this year. And of course, the playground, there's kids up here from sun up to sundown and sometimes after. Everybody hanging out doing the kid thing. It's very cold. 10 feet at this end, and it's kind of like Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tacos?
Yeah, it's really warm on the top, and the bottom 8 feet is as cold as can be, but the other pool is only 3 foot, and it's really warm.
There are also interactive things for teens and families to do, such as assassin water gun games. Here you can see I ruined somebody's hiding place. Of course, you can always have your kids settle their disputes with a volleyball game. For some kids, Porcfest is the very first chance they have to run their own business. You'll see everything from dog walking and babysitting service to this little girl who did a trash pickup and removal business. She did quite well. Another good thing is most places in Porcfest are wheelchair accessible. One of the coolest things about Porcfest is they solve problems. So when something's not offered that people need, someone usually in the community steps up and solves the problem and tries to make a little money doing so. A great example of this is the Agrist Hosting Company. They're basically a mobile Wi-Fi spot. In the past, Wi-Fi was unreliable at Porcfest, so these people set up their own solution to offer private Wi-Fi to the park. But let's not forget, this is hosted at a campground. So a lot of times, people just want to hang out and camp. And there's plenty of that to be found. Most folks are very friendly, and you can walk into any sort of tent, say hi, and most likely get invited in to have a seat and hang out. There's also lots of other events that go on as far as food-oriented events. Sometimes you can just walk around and see some self-defense classes going on. You might even find someone doing an SCA demonstration in their armor. As the nighttime approaches, Porcfest takes on more of an adult mode, as costume parties and all kinds of events start taking over. You can even catch some fire acts sometimes. And if you're in the mood, you can throw on an outfit and go rave. One of the highlight parties of Porcfest is the 1980s party. Of course, I'm a little biased. This is one of the few events that is family-friendly, but also adult-oriented. In the daytime, as things are getting set up, some parents take the opportunity to school their kids on the old 80s consoles and games. That's right, just about any game console you can think of and any game is there to play, free of charge, no quarters needed. Later on at night, when the adults arrive, there's also a drunk hunt, aka duck hunt, video game challenge. The winner / survivor of this game earns a silver prize. In fact, there's lots of prizes. There's a prize for best costume and best breakdancing. That's right, bust out your breakdance moves. In the daytime, there's also 80s board games for you to play with your kids if you like. Come on in and give them a lesson in Rock'em Sock'em Robots or No Respect. That's right, you can actually say, I got you here, diagonally. Pretty sneaky, sis. Or you could try your hand at Operation. That gets fun the later the night goes. Or maybe, if you really got a lot of guts, you could try to beat the original Simon. You guys remember the original Simon? Yeah, it's no joke. Also, before the party gets started, you can bring your kids over to try some traditional 80s candies. They can also get lots of 80s swag, glow sticks, all kinds of things. But what really happens is usually the adults end up taking everything and partying with them. Like most events at Porcfest, this party is completely free, but donations are encouraged to help us recover what we spend on all these sugary diabetic treats. Once the party gets going and it gets darker and darker, the traffic starts picking up. And by the end of the night, the tent is pumping at full speed. Again, this is one party that pretty much everybody goes to because it is family friendly, and then at night it turns a little more adult. So don't forget to bring an 80s outfit and get down with your totally tubular, awesome, rad self. At the end of every night at Porcfest, there's always a large bonfire where people come and hang out. During one of the nights, they make a porcupine effigy, and with a little fun ceremony, they burn it for goodwill. The socializing goes deep into the night, and during this night there was a full harvest moon, which was a blood moon on the equinox. Pretty rare. It's a very cool event to see with other people at Porcfest. Because there's very little light pollution out there, the stars and the moon are amazing at night. As the bonfire roars into the night and the official events are all over, the vibe changes and the unofficial party kicks off. Here you can get yourself some late night grub. After you fill your belly with some late night grub, you can sit down and play a board game or maybe some card games with some friends. And if you're not careful, you'll end up playing cards with this group. Yeah, just look at them. After the late night's over, you can wake up to the sounds of breakfast, go out, and there are morning activities around, but a lot of times it's just beautiful to go hike around the campground. It really is one of the prettiest places on the planet to spend a week. There are also opportunities for informal get-togethers, but also religious gatherings. There is an ecclesiastical church that puts on different events, if that's your flavor. But Porcfest welcomes all groups. Doesn't matter what your religion is, or if you don't have a religion at all. And because Ramadan usually falls within Porcfest, it's also an active Muslim community that hands out meals. Whichever way you choose to unwind and relax is okay there. So would you like to go? It's not too late. You can still get tickets and there are plenty of campsites left. All you have to do is go to porcfest.com and you can find out all the details, including the schedule, where to stay, everything you wanted to know about Porcfest. I'll see you there.